Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, Craig here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Andrew and he's selling his Amazon FBA business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Andrew, and how are you doing today?
Thank you so much, Craig. Doing great. Thank you so much for asking. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. It's great to hear that you're doing well, and I'm looking forward to talking more about your business. But before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary. It's an Amazon FBA business in the home niche, created in January 2018. The average monthly revenue for the business is $45,567 and makes an average of $13,165 net profit each month. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 48696 to learn more about the business. Or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, let's have a look at what's included in the sale. We have a domain including all site content and files, an additional domain used as a 301 redirect, Amazon Seller Essential account with 15 SKUs, social media accounts for Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Pinterest, an email list of 2,500 subscribers, trademark, and it's also important to note that inventory is not normally included in the list price, but further details can be provided to active buyers. Okay, Andrew, now let's hear from you. Can you tell us a little about your background in building and running online businesses?
For sure. This is basically my first business that I built from the ground up. I was involved in other businesses before, in retail, in logistics, and then real estate development. But this is the first one I really own 100% and am in charge of. Then I came to the idea of building an e-commerce business specifically was I was looking for more of a time allocation independence. I wanted to be reporting to myself only, not having a boss, and be able to travel the world and work from anywhere, which I did. I think I had like 8 months in a row of traveling in 2018, and that wouldn't be possible if the business was not e-commerce kind of business. So I'm happy that I was able to achieve that lifestyle with it, and I'm just looking to scale further with something even more impactful.
Okay, that makes sense. So how did you transition from working in business to your entrepreneurial journey of owning business yourself?
The last job I had was the basic office 9-to-5 job. It was pretty interesting. It was in real estate development, but I was always leaning towards more of a financial and location independence. I didn't want to depend on one person, basically making a decision for my financial future. And I also wanted to be able to travel more and be able to work flexible hours to enjoy my life more. So that's when I started working before my work started and after every day for about a year until I started having first sales.
Wow, that's a story I'm sure a lot of sellers can relate to, and you're definitely making a big financial decision recently on your business. So how did you come up with the idea to start this business in particular?
This business pretty much came out of my passion for beautiful design, minimalist design, and traveling. Yeah, that was the main criteria for me. I wanted to be able to stand behind it, not hide behind my products. And I wanted to feel fulfillment from what I do and enjoy talking to my customers when I do. And I'm proud to say that I was able to achieve that because people who know me know what I do. And I'm definitely proud for the things I created.
Absolutely. And you can see that shine through in the brand you've created because you seem to have a good following and you've got a very well-designed store and everything. So what are the elements of this brand that you've got and how did you create that? How did you build this following that you've got?
Well, I was basically very public about what I do. So openly talking about the journey, and people who knew me on social media were leaning towards following what's happening. So they joined my Facebook group that is common with the business. They joined my email list, some of them. A lot of them purchased the product to support me at the very beginning. So they were kind of part of the entire process. And they talk about it to others, and that's how we start. And then later on, once you have first organic sales on Amazon, people can see the difference. They can see that it's not just any made in China, simply made product. I point out made in China on purpose because main product line is made in Ukraine, where the highest quality standards can be met. So people see the difference when they buy it, and there's also an insert encouraging people to join all the social networks, to subscribe to the email list, and a lot of them did. There's also a ManyChat sequence that I've built later on that gives a little extra value for the buyers. And I feel like that makes a difference in terms of long-term brand building strategy, because then people can associate themselves with the story I share and with the product messaging I have all over my online presence.
Right, there's some great growth tactics, and I'd like to dig into a couple of them a bit more. But before that, you mentioned making your first sale. So how does your business primarily make money?
It's primarily Amazon FBA business. Like at this point, it's 100% of the sales are coming from Amazon. So it's basically having products listed there, and organic customers who shop on Amazon buy them. But at the same time, people who have joined my channels on social media, they tend to buy product I sell versus others just because they already know about them and they kind of know me as well.
Okay, so your main marketing channels, I guess you can classify Facebook as one, and you mentioned ManyChat. You made sales through them when you were building your brand, but do you do any sort of promotions or giveaways or anything like that in terms of marketing for your business now?
No, I don't do any promotions or giveaways for these products. No extra marketing outside of Amazon, really. Working on improving what I do on Amazon, actually. So I'm talking to someone very soon for the PPC automation service. So that may be a good game changer for me at this point. It's already well optimized, but I feel like I'm always trying for the edge, right? So these AI mechanisms should be able to help. And I'm also working on diversifying from Amazon, given the situation. If I do keep the business moving forward, I'd like to be present on and off Amazon too. So I'm starting to work on a Shopify store at this point, and once that's ready, I'll be looking into some promotions on Facebook, Instagram ads to bring some traffic to my own store. But at the same time, I'm opening up stores on other marketplaces, so Walmart, possibly eBay, Etsy, maybe something else. And I want to be present everywhere people shop for similar home decor products to make sure I capture all of the market.
Okay, excellent. And how far along have you got with expanding off Amazon? Are you just in the building the store phase, or have you built some stores somewhere and you start to make some sales?
At this point, it's just in the process, just very, very beginning. No sales done whatsoever outside of Amazon yet. The store isn't ready, so it's just work in progress, and I'm still collecting the necessary knowledge to make it all happen. So within probably, I don't know, a month or so, I should have something cooking, but I can't really say much because I don't really have experience outside of Amazon yet.
Okay, that's great for a buyer to know, because it's definitely a brilliant growth strategy that we always recommend. So yeah, it's really good that you're doing that. So, I mean, you have this fantastic brand, it's making good money. How come you're selling this business at this point?
Good question. Basically, I'm looking to transition into a little different niche. Personally, more passionate about health, wellness, and taking care of my body. And I feel like I learned way more about that stuff lately than about stuff related to my current business that I own. And I'd like to extend that passion into something that makes money for me as well, because then I'll fulfill as well, the same way I do about this business. Just moving forward, just trying to find something that excites me more in the future. So yeah, that's the plan, is to sell it to the right person who can take my current business to the next level and be able to focus on something completely new. And because of that newness and being uncomfortable, to grow further personally and professionally with this business.
Excellent. That's great to hear that you're following your passions there. So, and I'm sure you'll be able to use the experience when you built this business into future sites or businesses. So what did you learn from building this site that particularly worked for you?
Following your passion is one of the things. I definitely recommend people to first actually look for what is in demand. And that's what I'm trying to achieve with the next business as well. And then from the things that are in demand, which are myriads of different options, what do you really feel passionate about? What could you proudly talk about? Because when you pick something like that, it becomes way easier to manage stress, manage surprises that sometimes happen, and stick to the goal to make it all work. So that's the main underarching baseline for me, is following what I can really enjoy doing. But then in terms of tactics and making sure it works, definitely recommend involving people who are professionals in their niches to get their advice, because they usually have way more experience in what you're trying to achieve than you do. And making sure the brand is super strong. That's one of the things I feel made my current business successful, is focusing on the long term, taking care of the customers, making visuals stand out, making designs stand out. Like, people feel the difference when they take a product that had a little bit of heart put into it. So that's my plan with the next business as well.
Absolutely. And I'm curious, your product pages, your sort of Amazon store, and even your website, I've seen very well designed. Did you do those designs yourself, or did you hire a CRO agent for that?
Mostly myself. Sometimes I'd get a little bit of help from someone, but I didn't really hire anyone for that particular job. So mostly myself, experimenting a lot. And I appreciate the compliment. I'm sure there's room for improvement, but it was a great learning experience. And I do hear compliments from people sometimes, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, absolutely. Good job on that. So that's all the great stuff. So is there anything you tried when building the business that didn't work for you?
Well, there was definitely something. I can't really think of anything right this moment, because it feels like every product I launched in this brand worked, which is surprising based on my friend's experience. But I think I'm just a very particular person. I don't just slap my brand on anything and try to sell it. I make sure it's the best possible. And only then I launch the product. So it takes me a while to launch, but once I do, it's usually a very high quality product. Oh, what didn't work actually is me managing PPC. I know I'm not the best person to do the advertising on Amazon. I know overall, like, some people are just naturally better, or maybe they develop their skills in a way better way. I was not successful early on managing my own PPC. The ad spend was way too high. The ACOS wasn't where I wanted it to be. But I quickly figured out that I need to hire someone, a contractor, to manage it for me, which I did. And that was working out super well for me. The results were better than anyone else I've heard. I couldn't really compare to the industry, but any other friends who sell on Amazon, they usually were like surprised with the ACOS result, TACOS results for my PPC. And I currently am looking to improve it any further, because I feel like having an AI look after that part of the business is going to give me another edge.
Excellent. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's great. And another great way to scale a business. So most of your traffic comes from organic, and you have some from PPC. And that's the main source of marketing you do at the minute, the PPC. So yeah, the main ways you said you try and grow the business is expanding off Amazon and doing some social media marketing to those brands off Amazon. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would do to try and grow the business? Anything, you launch similar products or anything like that, or variations?
Yeah, there's definitely a way to expand in terms of variations and other products related to the brand. I personally have a lot of ideas. If I were to keep it, I'd still be launching other products, because it's not that hard once you have the base built, which I do. Definitely easy to add some variations. And like, one of the products is just sizes and colors, and you can go forever into adding more sizes and colors. There's clearly one color that I can add with 7 more sizes to that other product line that would 100% bring in new revenues and new profits, because I can see a lot of demand based on the keyword research. And then I would also go into other marketplaces the way I'm trying to do that. So all possible marketplaces in the United States and also other markets. I would go to Amazon Europe, which I know takes a little bit of time to get all the paperwork done. I see that it's working out for other people, so I definitely look in that direction.
Okay, that makes sense. So back to the day-to-day of this business, can you describe the amount and type of work you do on this site for maintenance?
Oh, yeah, that's a nice one, because I pretty much put my life into it for the last few years up until recently. A few months before I listed the business, that was my thought process. I was like, I don't really spend much time on it. I don't feel like I'm growing a lot as an entrepreneur, because everything's predictable, everything's fairly simple. The upkeep takes me probably like 10 hours a week, realistically, because I have to place new orders and check my sales and see if everything's fine. Maybe post something on the Facebook group once in a week, and I'll repost somebody who's taking a picture of the product on Instagram. It doesn't take much anymore, and that's part of the reason why I want to get into something where I can still fulfill my potential and work hard and smart on building something new from the ground up. When I have enough cash, that'd be probably easier than when I was building this business.
Yeah, definitely. That totally understand that. So for this business, what skills or requirements are there for someone who is not familiar with this niche or business model?
Well, for anyone who understands how Amazon works, there's no new skills you need. But if you don't, it's fairly straightforward. It's understanding how retail businesses work, but knowing that it's online, so you can do it from home. And as long as you are willing to learn new things you didn't know, which shouldn't be too hard, you should be able to manage it. I can't even point out anything that would be challenging, because whenever I explain my friends who don't sell on Amazon what I do, they're like, oh, that makes sense. That's fairly straightforward. And there's definitely a lot of free materials online to support further growth. And ideally, I'd like to pass it on to someone who is willing to scale it up and build the brand up to something I'd be proud of mentioning in the future.
Okay, great. And what do you think are the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
I feel the biggest risk overall for Amazon sellers right now is the America's war with China, kind of economic war, If the tariffs keep rising, then it's going to be risky for everybody who sources from China. Then the margins may get lower. There's a good and bad specifically for my business here, because one of the product lines is made in China and the other product line is made in Ukraine, which is completely independent of China. So if somebody buys this business, they'll only be looking at placing one of the product lines. And that other one is fairly simple. You don't really need any high tech or any extreme specialty to make those other products. The first one I started with is made in Ukraine, and the systems are built fairly well. I wouldn't worry about that part at all. The only thing I can think of, 3-5 years from now, is what if America becomes way more aggressive and the tariffs will go up even more, or something like that happens. Then the other product line would have to be moved to another country, and 90% of the products on Amazon would as well. So that's the only risk I can think of, really. Some people question how dependable it is on travel industry, because it's a decorative travel product, but it's travel related, yes and no. Why yes? The name implies that it's travel related. The initial target audience were people who kind of enjoy traveling. But at the same time, why no? You don't have to travel to be my customer. It's a home decor item. You don't use it for traveling. And at the same time, I can't imagine world without traveling in the future, even though it's limited right now and less people travel than they used to. A lot of them are still waiting for the gates to open. And I have that Facebook group where my customers interact with each other. I can see what they talk about. They're all planning their future travels, and that's why they still keep buying these products. So it's kind of big potential in that regard as well, because once the gates open up, I'm sure the demand will rise even more. And if you compare pre-COVID times, like April was lower than usual, but starting from May, my sales went up significantly. And I feel that's because people spend way more time at home and they want their natural environment, their habitat to represent who they are and make them feel more comfortable and more like at home. And my products help do that. And right now, my sales are much higher than they used to be a year before. So when the travel restarts again the normal way, I'm sure the sales will go up even more.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a fantastic answer. You definitely have the sales to show that this is a solid business that is ready for growth. So that said, putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
It's, first of all, extremely well positioned on Amazon, and it's ready to be taken further, both on Amazon and off Amazon if they decide to. On Amazon, by adding more products, more variations, and just scaling the width of the Amazon presence. And off Amazon, as I mentioned, there are lots of opportunities there too. At the same time, Amazon in other marketplaces around the world would be a great way to look at it, because I see that in less competitive markets, these products are not as well positioned. The competition is not that hard to beat, especially having all of the reviews and the seller ratings I currently have, because all of the reviews get transferred. So let's say if I open up a store in Germany, or not store, but start selling on Amazon Germany or Amazon UK, all of the reviews that I currently have will still show up there as reviews for the United States. So that helps to convince new buyers to buy something for the first time in a new market. And also, it's fairly unique. Like the brand itself, once somebody takes a look at all the details, they can see that There's a clear story, there's a clear brand image, and the quality and the design is luxurious compared to other competitions. So it's not really even competing fairly with the rest of the market. Most of the people are selling cheaper, simpler made alternatives. And when you look at the listings, I even put my face there and my wife there just to relate to more people, which I'm fine to keep that way if somebody wants to take it over and not change any images. And that already tells the story. People can see that they buy from a person, not from a random Chinese seller who doesn't care and just slapped something together. The visuals stand out big time. I invested a lot of time and energy and money into the right photographers and right way to position my brand for success. So it's done already in a way that it's super easy to manage and just take advantage of the growth, especially in Q4, because a lot of these products are treated as gifts and people love giving them as gifts. So every time there's a need for a gift, whatever occasion, birthday, any party, any kind of celebration, a lot of people want to have these products at home. And since this one is really designed in the best way possible, made in Europe, I personally made sure the design is super unique. There's some features that I shouldn't be mentioning here, but there are some unique features that nobody else has in the world that make it the only solution to certain problems. That's why I feel this is a good brand to take on. And if you have an ambition to grow it further, I'd be interested to pass on everything I know about it to position as the new owner for the success.
Absolutely, yeah. This definitely is an Amazon store with some fantastic branding. So any listeners, you should really go to the listing and check it out. You think you'll be impressed. So regarding the sale of the business, Andrew, would you commit to a non-compete?
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure that's a standard thing to do. I wouldn't be launching any similar products myself. As I said, I'm trying to move towards more of a health-related industry, so there shouldn't be any issue at all.
Excellent. And how much support are you willing to offer buyers? Are you going for the standard 30 days of email and Skype support?
Yeah, whatever Empire Flipper standard, I'm fine with it. I'm sure it's mentioned somewhere in the listing, but generally speaking, I'm a human being. I believe in karma and in the long-term approach to business. I know people is everything. So whoever buys should expect me to be a good human being in terms of selling the business. I'm not going to ignore you. If there's something after the 30 days, you have a quick question. Obviously, I'll have other priorities, so I wouldn't be able to commit. But it's I'm a good person.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I hear that. So are you open to negotiating something like an earn-out?
I would prefer not to. The only thing I'd probably accept if there's a real need is extending the inventory payments slightly outside of the closing period. But that's about it. I feel it's really priced super well for where it is right now. And obviously the current pricing is for the current performance. But if you look for the future, if you look at the projections of what you can do with it, there's a huge potential. And I even feel like it's underpriced overall.
Okay, that's fair. Is there anything else you'd like to share that I might have missed?
I think we covered most of it, and I'm excited to talk to people who are really willing to invest their efforts into growing this. If you're just looking for a cash flow business, technically work, I'm just not going to be super happy about it. I want someone to care about it the way I did. So if you're really looking into making a difference and building a brand you can stand behind, that's your business.
Of course, yeah. It sounds like a brand that you're very well connected to, and that's shown in the results. So yeah, well done for what you've done, and thank you very much for your time, Andrew. It's been great talking to you.
Of course. Thank you, Craig.
You're welcome. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 48696. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.